Good morning and happy Sunday, everybody. I'm Charlotte McGinnis, and as always, thank you so much for taking the time to join me here on Sundays, either live or at your convenience. Well, it is absolutely beautiful here at at the Chateau Charelle, Charlotte Nellen's Airbnb. Not really, but it feels that way. We've had a bunch of company, which has been fun. Last week, our good friends Tracy and her daughter Judy and Carolyn, and then last night Wanda spent the night with us, my sister tonight, and then next on Thursday, I got a crew of girls coming in from West Virginia. So it's a great time of year here. It's beautiful and always fun to be with great people. We had Wanda came up to spend some time with our good friend Mary, whose health is not in the best of condition, but just praying for the greatest good for Mary and ask you to do the same. She's an awesome lady. We've had some good visits and really grateful to know her and have her in our life. Laura, good morning to you. Happy Sunday, and hope you're having a great day. Laura's just right around the corner from us, not too far, so it's beautiful here in Flat Rock. Well, I asked Mary yesterday, why is Mother Mary? I said, what should I talk about today? I hadn't really set up my talk yet. And she said, the blessing of miracles and all the miracles that we continually have and how we're blessed. And absolutely, she is a miracle, you're a miracle, we're all miracles. And miracles are really, and of course the miracles are a natural state. They're meant to be. We're meant to live in that flow of miracles. And if we're not really aligned with our truth. So if you want to live, be willing to reigns and control everything in our life, our thoughts, our actions, our word. Looks like we're having a little technical issue here, but hopefully we'll keep this going. We got kicked back on. So anyway, I decided that Wanda last night said, well, why don't you talk about Pope Francis and all the light and blessings that he brought to the planet Earth and to all of the souls on the planet. So I did a little digging and I thought, yes, this is a great subject. You know, Pope Francis passed away last Easter Monday, day after Easter. This past week, he definitely left a mark on the world and came here to really ground light. And he was an amazing man. So I'm going to talk about really who he was, what he taught, and some of his key messages. So Donna, good morning to you. Happy day in Florida, I hope. So going on to Pope Francis, one of his statements was, it's not enough to say that we're Christians. We must live the faith, not only with our words, but our actions. And what is it that we have heard over the years? Who we are speaks louder than any words we say. You know, we could have a mouthful of scripture and spiritual wisdom, but if we're not living it, it's not impacting, because really who we are speaks louder than anything we could ever say. Because when we walk in these principles and live from those principles, then everybody benefits from those, right? We talk about every week this quantum field that we're all a part of. We're not separate from source. We're not separate from each other. And when I choose love over fear, or choose the miracle, which means I'm shifting my perception of judgment and fear to love, that is the miracle, and everyone benefits by that decision of choosing the miracle. So right now on planet Earth, definitely a lot of shaking, rattling, and rolling, literally and figuratively happening, right? It's crazy times. Mother Earth is shaking and rattling, and people are stressed and full of anxiety and not knowing really what's to come. And I think that this is an opportunity, as I've said many times over the years, it's an opportunity for us to go inside. And if I'm looking for anything outside of myself, to give me safety, peace, or comfort, I'm probably going to be disappointed and lost. So really the only thing that gives us what we really think we're looking for outside of ourselves is that connection to source and spirit. And that light of God lives in each and every one of us. No one is exempt. Even the darkest of human beings, they still have that spark. It may be buried by a lot of darkness and evil, perceived evil. And what's evil? It's the absence of light, the absence of love, right? So everybody has it, and it's here for us to lift the veil through forgiveness and let our light shine, right? So another thing that Pope Francis says, embrace with tender affection the whole of humanity, especially the poorest, the weakest, and the least important. And I love this because, again, you know, we're here to love all of humanity. We're here to love as God loves. That's agape love. That's unconditional, total love. It's not based on conditions or judgment, but rather just knowing that that we're all part of God's family and that we're here to accept and love each other. And no, it's not easy, but it is possible. So we just have to keep nurturing and building on that and developing that and just doing the best we can to I'm sorry, I'm laughing. We have to do the best we can to develop that love and to share that light with the world. Okay, I'm gonna tell you why I'm laughing. Our friend Mary is not doing very well. I'm not laughing at that, but I just got a text that popped up here. I had said, see if Mary wants she hasn't been eating, and does she want a sandwich, a brisket sandwich? I would be happy to make her one when we go to visit her. And Wanda said, yes, Mary would love a brisket sandwich. So that's a good sign because she hasn't been eating for quite a while. So yay, she wants a brisket sandwich. So sorry to digress, but that's what you get. You get me, and you never know what's going to come out of my mouth. Okie doke. So we have to embrace all of humanity. We can't just say we're Christians. And when I say Christian, I'm not talking about religion necessarily, but Christ-like. If we say we're Christed beings, it's about living the faith with not only our words, but who we are. So as we move on through this journey of life, you know, it's tough. And it's very tough. We're challenged in every moment of every day. Everybody's got something they're dealing with. So we have to strengthen our faith, tap into the true essence of who we are, be guided, led, and directed by love, and by living a more faithful life, right? So having faith does not mean that we don't have difficulties, but having the strength to face them, knowing we're not alone. And I think that this is such a powerful statement on a lot of levels because, you know, we were never promised a rose garden, right? I think there's a song about that. But I never promised you a rose garden, and I think that might have been God saying, I never promised you a rose garden, but I did promise you peace. And peace is a decision, it's a practice. It's a state of awareness, right? So yes, we're going to continue to have difficulties, but if we have those through faith, through developing our spiritual musculature, we become more able to face those with strength and peace and knowing that all is well and all is going to be just fine. Because in the realm of eternity, there's Annie and Rita. Happy Sunday to you girls. But in the realm of eternity, this is, Joel Goldsmith says, this life here in this body on this earth may seem like a long time. It's a blip on the movie screen, and as he called it, Joel Goldsmith, a parenthesis in eternity. So we have to look at our true nature, our souls, our essence as the truth of what it is, which is eternal. And we're just passing through here, and we got to make sure we don't get too attached to to whatever we get attached to. It could be money, it could be relationships, it could be power, it could be a number of things. But whatever it is, if we're attached to the illusion, which is idolatry, then we're going to be disappointed. And idols always fall, okay? And what do we make idols of? Some examples would be, how many letters can you have past your name? How many degrees can you get? Where do you live? How much money do you have? Where do your kids go to college? All these things that are fine and dandy here on planet Earth and part of our human experience. But if we use those as a means of safety and support and identify those with who we are, like if I have all these things, all these ducks in a row, then I'm going to be just fine and happy. And if I don't, then I'm going to jump out of a building, right? I think that as we know, back in the Depression, the stock market crash in 1929, people lost everything, and they didn't know how to deal with it because, you know, they had all these gold coins. They were thinking all was there, that was their safety. All of a sudden, that was ripped out, and what were these people doing? They were jumping out of buildings, literally. Well, we don't have to do that. I would say not a good idea. So what we really need to do is just keep developing our faith and our connection to Source, and know that in that place all is well, and there's no struggle, no pain, no suffering, no stress, and on and on. Pope Francis also says, I have a dogmatic certainty. God is in every person's life. God is in everyone's life. Even if the life of a person has been a disaster, even if it's destroyed by vices, drugs, or anything else, God is in this person's life. And you can and you must try to seek God in every human life. And I think that, you know, I'm like a bulldog with this statement too. I have a dogmatic certainty. I believe exactly what he says here. Now, do I live this all the time? No. But I do have this dogmatic certainty that God is in everyone, that everybody is playing their role, no matter how bad the role is that they play, be it through addiction or vices or whatever evil, perceived evil that a person has done, that doesn't extinguish the light of God within them. And what we're here to do is to continue to focus on that light, that truth, that essence. As Pope Francis says, you can and we must try to see God in every human life. And if we did that, this whole illusion of separation and duality and fear and fighting and conflict would just evaporate and all would be good. So we gotta, yes, we can have opinions. We have to really take responsibility for sight and how we see the world, because my thoughts are things and my thoughts carry a vibration with them. And I think as we mature spiritually, we really have to own where we're still holding grievances and judgments and attack thoughts. And, you know, as I've said, one thing I realize, the deeper I go down this rabbit hole of spirituality and trying to make sense of everything, I realize I don't know anything. I really don't. I'm sharing with you where I am. Don't look to me for the answers. If something, I would say, if something resonates, then, and it feels good, take it from there. But really, we have to all find our way, and we're here also to lift each other up. So it's a giving and receiving. But ultimately, I do have a dogmatic certainty that if I hold any rage, anger, or judgment towards anyone, I'm not living my holiest principles. And that being said, the bigger picture of that is, if I was totally purified in mind and spirit and heart, I would only see love. I would only see that spark of light in the darkest of beings. Now, I have to say, yay, I feel like for the most part, I do that. I live by that. A couple of people, one in particular, still a challenge. and not an easy one to let go of. But I know I need to, and I'll leave it at that for now. But it's not been easy because it keeps hitting us in the face every day. And there's been consequences in the illusion because of it. But besides that, I know it's a big lesson. I mean, my soul is always going back and forth, right? The soul is like, okay, this is a lesson. You're here to see the light. And my ego's like, this person is evil. They're the most awful human being. So I'm sort of in that battle, but I know it. And so I'm just sharing with you that even though I know you all think I'm enlightened, I know that. Just kidding. But just sharing with you that I have my moments of enlightenment and I have my moments of not so much. So that being said, I'm going to move on because what else does Pope Francis tell us? Well, love is more powerful. Love gives life. Love makes hope blossom in the wilderness. So ultimately, whatever the question, love is always the answer. So because love is the most powerful energy in the entire universe. So what do we have to do? Tune in to love more. What is God? God is love, right? So God is love. What are attributes of love? Forgiveness, kindness, compassion, non-judgment, oneness, peace, light. Any attributes you all want to add to this, feel free to do so. But it's good morning, Donald, and Carol. Good to see you guys. Yes, love is our greatest asset. In our innocence is our strength. The meek shall inherit the earth. That's what Jesus told us in the Sermon on the Mount. The meek, because they're more connected to the kingdom of God. We have to, in my defenselessness, my safety lies. Because the most powerful gift that we have is our soul, our spirit, and that divine light. And that can extinguish all the darkness. So we got to quit going to battle, physical battle and mental battle. And yeah, people are playing dark and ugly roles in the world all the time, but we don't have to join in on that. We can actually rise above the battleground, blast it with love and light, and know, as Pope Francis says, that the essence of every being, no matter how dark a role they're playing, they are divine and they're holy. And we're here to lift them up, see for those the light where they've lost their way in the darkness. So love is the most powerful asset we have. We need more of that, up the dose. So the world, and I think this is where since the beginning of man, we've identified with the idols, okay? The story of the golden calf and the idolatry and abandoning God and dancing and drinking and all of those actions that were really a metaphor for how we've turned away from God and chosen the idols over the divine. And the world is constantly, this illusion is really designed as a distraction to keep us distracted, asleep, away from source. It's like, I know if I just get one more whatever it is that I think I need, I'm going to be happy and I'm going to be fulfilled. Well, it doesn't happen that way. So the world tells us to seek success, to seek power and money. God tells us to seek humility, service, and love. And yes, you can have money and you can have success and power from power, I would say that power of living from light and love is the power that I choose. And yes, all those things are fine and dandy and part of our human experience, but really, ultimately, you get to a point and it's like, okay, well, I've had the money, I've had the success, and it was fun and it was great, but then you have a bigger search for meaning, and you realize, well, okay, that was cool, but there's more to it than this. And then you begin to go a little deeper and try to see, okay, what is this about? And it really comes down to humility, service, and love. So the rest of it is fine and dandy, but ultimately humility, service, and love. And there's Martha, who I'm going to see in just a few days here. Looking forward to that. Going to have a girls' weekend. So this is a really big one too from Pope Francis, and I know I'm guilty of this, better than I used to be, but still definitely do it. And so when we need to talk badly about others, it really is an indicator of low self-esteem. That means I feel so low, instead of picking myself up, I have to cut others down. Letting go of negative things quickly is healthy. So, it boils down to, it's real easy to get into the story and to be talking badly about others and projecting whatever we feel we need to project or whatever we need to think about a certain situation. But really, if we felt good about ourselves, we wouldn't have a need to do anything. The more healed we are, the more comfortable we are in our own skin. It's kind of a live and let live thing, It's like what other people do is really none of my business, but I can bless them and love them. But if I, need to attack somebody or judge somebody or what have you, I need to take a look at myself. That's not a very enlightened place to come from. Think about it. What if, Jesus was around? Do you think he gossiped or talked about, all the other, we talked about Judas last week, right? And Judas actually, Jesus not only didn't condemn him, but basically shared that it was a contract. His betrayal was a contract that that they had agreed upon. And I think too that in this life journey, we have contracts with people, but we've at some level, at a soul level, invited those contracts into our life to teach us a bigger lesson so that we can learn deeper levels of forgiveness and faith and understanding and true deeper love. And so everything, we were talking to our friend Wanda this morning. She just went down to Mary's house. Mary just lives at the bottom of the hill. But anyway, we were saying everything, even though there's some stinky, tough things that happen in life, everything is for our best interest. And I do believe that. Don't like all of it when it hits you in the face sometimes, but I do know that it is in our best interest. And Catherine, good morning to you. Think about this. If you look back at some challenges, disappointments, whatever in your life, when you're in the middle of them, they seem like traumatic and awful and like you're never going to get over it. And somehow we do. We made it through. And you look back and it's like, oh, that wasn't that big of a deal. But when you heal, when you're healed is when you can stop telling the story. When you don't have a charge attached to it. And so I've shared that, I've learned I can bless everybody, and I do my best to do that. And I also have to make sure that I surround myself with people who are inspiring, who walk in integrity, who lift me up, who I lift up. Because, I used to try and be the one to just try and carry the burden for everybody and lift everybody up. And not only did it not work, it usually backfired. And so I think we could probably all relate to that. When you try and go out and save the sinners, you think you're doing a good deed, but they'll break your back in the meantime. And that's part of the lesson. And that's not a judgment. It's just like, well, okay. So what are we here to do? We're here to bless. We're here to love. Sometimes we do take action, but ultimately seek first the kingdom of God, live from that, and then we'll be guided to do what we're supposed to do. What's ours? Is this mine to do? And I think that's a real important question. Is this mine to do? And sometimes the universe will say, yep, do this. Take this action. And sometimes you'll just get, nope, not yours to do. Let it go. And I think that's a good practice. Put your hands on your heart and, okay, is this mine? Yes, no. Okay, and you begin to, that's, I think, part of the spiritual practice we become more intuitive and tuned in, and we're guided exactly where we need to be and what we're supposed to do in any given moment. So it's practice. And that's what this world is. Planet Earth is a classroom, and there's one lesson, and the lesson is forgiveness, and to see the world forgiven. And forgiveness means that there's nothing to change. It's about seek not to change the world, but change our mind about it. And I wish to God, I'm rabid for this, because I know this is where our power lies. That if, rather than attacking and judging everything we think that's going wrong, because what we're doing with that is feeding what we don't want. And if we could just say, okay, you know what? I don't know what anything's for. I just would love unity, oneness, peace. And I don't have to judge anyone. I don't want to make anyone wrong. I just want to blast them with love. I know God's plan is way better than mine. And so trust that process. We say we want peace in the world, but we don't, because we're projecting and making wrong, and that doesn't work. It just doesn't work. So I kind of like when I hear people say that, and I include myself in this, certainly. But when we get into this, thinking that, and I always love it when people say, well, it's happened since the beginning of time. It's cycles. It's this. Yeah. Oh, and this person, they're a great teacher because they bring in all the historical aspects. Yes. And we don't want to repeat the past, and we keep, this just past recycling. I'm like, no, let's cut the past, be present, and invite the Holy Spirit in, and surrender to the unknown, surrender to love, and be guided from that. And then we move to the fifth dimension. Then we experience heaven on earth. Then we see our brothers and sisters as ourselves. Then we end the conflict. So yeah, I can't go out and change the world, but I can change myself and how I show up in the world, and I'm guided to exactly that which will serve not only me, but the greater good for everybody. You're welcome, Catherine. It's so nice to see you, and I need to hear the words too. So to change the world, according to Pope Francis, he said, we must be good to those who cannot repay us. And I think that's huge. And I think that if you notice how people treat those who can't really give them anything in return, you'll see the real character of a person. Meaning, maybe is a person nice to the servers, or the people who work at the grocery store, or the yard people, or whoever, anybody and everybody. Just being kind for the sake of being kind is huge, and you don't expect anything back, because once you have an expectation, you're not really living in your highest degree of love. Well, I want to share this because it's been all over the internet, and it's really powerful, and it was attributed by everybody. And I did a little digging. It was attributed to be a statement from Pope Francis recently. And it was not, and I don't know who actually it was from, but it's powerful nonetheless. And it says, following Pope Francis' death on April 21st, 2025, a statement attributed to him recirculated across multiple social media platforms, including Instagram, Facebook, and other religious and spiritual blogs. So while many users appeared to believe that it was Pope Francis, others raised questions about the authenticity of where it came from. So it's not definitely from the Pope. I don't know if it is or it isn't. Could be. But that being said, it's great words to live by. So if you want, you can just take a breath, close your eyes, listen. I'm going to read it. It'll take me a minute or two. But I think if we can take this into our hearts, it will transform us greatly. So just take a breath, close your eyes. You can even put your hand on your heart. But whatever you want to do, I'd say try to listen to these words, because I'm I'm taking them to heart myself. So as he had just come out of the hospital, that's why I think it got attributed to him. So it doesn't matter who said it, it's beautiful. The walls of hospitals have heard more honest prayers than churches. They have witnessed far more sincere kisses than those in airports. It is in hospitals that you see a homophobe being saved by a gay doctor, a privileged doctor saving the life of a beggar. In intensive care, you see a Jew taking care of a racist, a police officer and a prisoner in the same room receiving the same care, a wealthy patient waiting for a liver transplant, ready to receive an organ from a poor donor. It's in these moments when hospitals touch the wounds of people that different worlds intersect according to divine design. And in this communion of destinies, we realize that alone we are nothing. The absolute truth of people, most of the time, only reveals itself in moments of pain or in the real threat of irreversible loss. A hospital is a place where human beings remove their masks and show themselves as they truly are in their purest essence. This life will pass quickly, so don't waste it fighting with people. Don't criticize your body too much. Don't complain excessively. Don't lose sleep over bills. Make sure to hug your loved ones, and don't worry too much about keeping the house spotless. Material goods must be earned by each person, but do not dedicate ourselves to accumulating an inheritance. You are waiting for too much. Christmas, Friday, next year, when you have money, when love arrives, when everything is perfect. Listen, perfection does not exist. A human being can't attain it because we're simply not made to be fulfilled here. That's what we talk about every week. Here, we are given the opportunity to learn. So make the most of this trial of life and do it now. Respect yourself, respect others, walk your own path, and let go of the path others have chosen for you. Respect. Do not comment. Do not judge. Do not interfere. Love more, forgive more, embrace more, live more intensely, and leave the rest in the hands of our Creator. So there is so much depth and wisdom in those statements, but ultimately, don't sweat the small stuff. This is not our home. I love this too. It says, walk your own path and let go of the path that others have chosen for you. How often are we living other people's dreams and ideals and not even really living our true and highest purpose because the church told me to, school told me to, my parents told me to, friends told me to, whatever, magazine, other people's truth. And we're all here on our divine journey, and we have to learn to walk that journey alone. Well, we're not ever alone. We're really not alone at all. The Spirit of God is always with us and guiding us every step of the way. I do believe that if we open ourselves up, we realize that we have so much protection and guidance and companionship that we never imagined. And the more we open our hearts, I think the more people are drawn to us and drawn to support us. And so that's a beautiful thing. So do what we can. If you're struggling, leave it in the hands of Creator. Go to bed, let it go, give it to God, and get a good night's sleep is basically what this is saying. And so a couple of things I want to wind up with that Pope Francis said, and he was the people's pope. He was a very loving, humble, kind man, buried in a pine box by all, he died penniless. But that being said, he definitely was in the kingdom of the Vatican and the world, right? And was surrounded by, opulence, gold, riches, whatever, politics for sure, but in that space, he really stayed centered in and grounded in love and in divinity. And you could feel that as he expressed it to the world. So I've been happy to be able to share some of these beautiful teachings of his today. And winding down, a couple of things he goes on to say is an authentic faith, which is never comfortable or completely personal, always involves a deep desire to change the world, to transmit values, to leave this earth somehow better than we found it. And I think that's huge. And I don't take this as a physical, yeah, we can plant trees and that's an awesome thing. And we can do things physically to make the world better. But ultimately, to leave the world better than we found it, I feel, is to ground more light and love into our being. And to share that totally, fearlessly, and without limits. And he says also, all it takes is one good person to restore hope. So when all seems lost, we're never alone. And if we could be that good person to someone else, I don't think we realize how much power we really have. But we got to lay down our swords and our judgments and projections and whatever. It's just, that's not where it's at. And I'll speak till I'm blue in the face. That the kingdom of this is not the kingdom, and we've got to quit allowing everything to trigger us and upset us. We're here to bless the world. Pope Francis was a beautiful example of that. Yes, he had opinions. Yes, he instructed life skills, but at the end of the day, he loved and blessed everybody. And I think that's what we're here to do. So all it takes is one good person to restore hope. That's you, that's me. And it's not that hard. We just have to be willing to surrender, let go, let God, right? And of course, I will close with this, and because this is a great truth that if we take this into our hearts, I think it'll make us all feel better. And that is, one day we will see our animals again in eternity of Christ. Paradise is open to all God's creatures. So ain't that wonderful to think of all those four-leggeds, well, all the two-leggeds, all the people that we've lost and the pets over the years, and just having everyone run to us and be smiling and in their best state, their enlightened state. And I have faith that that's the truth, that literally we are eternal beings, and that even our animals are there waiting for us. So hope you all have a fabulous day. Thank you so much for tuning in. I'm going to go visit my friend Mary. Keep her in your prayers. I'm going to go make her a brisket sandwich. I'm thrilled she wants that. That's awesome. And in the meantime, the prayer ministry is here. It's thriving, and I invite you to submit your prayers. There's been a little confusion. Just to clarify, the prayer ministry, if you want to submit prayers, you can email me a prayer request, charlottemcginnis@gmail.com. You can go to my website, charlottemcginnis.com. Scroll down on the homepage, click on prayer ministry, it's there. Or you can send me a message on Facebook. But those are, the old format is no longer the format I'm working with. So if you want to be, if you want your prayers submitted, go through my website or through me, and I'd be grateful to help you. Have a great week, everybody. Many blessings. See you next week, and namaste. Take care.